across the World Wide Web, on your mobile devices, on social media platforms. This is Jambo Radio! www.jamboradio.co.uk. We are multilingual. We are conversational in the languages you best understand. We are Jambo Radio! Jambo Radio, inspiring transformation.
Hello and welcome to Love on the Stereo on Jambo Radio. My name is Holly from Swipe Right HQ, and we are Scotland's premier dating agency for the Afro-Caribbean community. Today on Love on the Stereo, we're going to be talking about love in the city, dating in the concrete jungle. You know that song, the one I'm talking about. From the hustle of the city chaos to the incredible blend of cultures and tech and all that kind of magic, and what kind of makes these relationships so fascinating as compared to love that's not in the city. So let's dig into what sets these relationships apart. If you want to join into the conversation, you can call the studio direct on 0745 990 6822. You can also send us a WhatsApp message or voice note on the same number. That's 0745 990 6822. And if you're on social media, you can also message us on Facebook, Jambo Radio Scotland. On Twitter, we are Jambo Radio 1. And on Instagram, we are at jamboradio.scotland or at swiperight.hq. You can also email us at info@jamboradio.co.uk. So send us your comment, and we'd love to hear from you and your own contribution on our topic tonight of finding love in the big city. And if you haven't yet, you can also download our mobile Jambo Radio app, available in the App Store for those of you on iPhone or iOS devices. Okay, so today we're talking about the ups and downs of finding love in the big cities. Do you ever wonder how the fast-paced city life influences the way that we date? Has dating in the city helped or hindered your dating, or rather not dating, but has it helped or hindered your success in the love game? Send us your comments and we'll mention it on the show. Let's hear your dirty, gory stories of city dating. So, city boys and city girls, who is winning in the urban dating scene? Do you think that it's a recipe for quick connections or a slow-burning romance? Do you think that living in the city makes you more promiscuous, maybe, because you can make those quick connections very, very fast, drop them very, very fast, no strings attached. There's loads of people living, it increases that anonymity. Or actually, is it that it creates these like slow burning romances, these will they, won't they? You're so busy at work, you're so busy with your friends, but you always see that one person at the gym, but you haven't spoke to them. Or at work, your eyes glance. Sometimes you start to say something, is it now, oh, I want to go to the gym and hopefully this person is there. Is it that kind of thing? Or is it just kind of 1, 2, 1, 2, let's get through them? Who can say? Call and let us know. Of course, there's also the kind of diversity and the different cultures that come together in a big city and, create this huge dating pool. How does your background shape your approach to dating? Your cultural background, actually, because it's very influential for a lot of people. For example, in some cultures, you are almost expected to have an arranged marriage. Do you bring that expectation when you move to the city? Or do you shed that skin as soon as you're in the city and you're like, boom, different city now? Or also, do you bring those cultures with you to the city, I guess, or do you just kind of let the city engulf you in what that culture says? Because of course, if you're in Australia, to New York, to Glasgow, there's a different way, a different etiquette of dating. Do you become this new city way of living, or do you, let your family and your culture influence you? Because I think with a lot of people, if you're dating culturally, if you're dating through the lens of your culture, a lot of the times, family influences that, in terms of before you get serious, the family meets. No, not even in an arranged marriage way, but in a kind of your social circles, they'll even meet before anything is serious. Somebody to chaperone you even. Yeah, chaperones still happen in this day and age. Like if any of you want me to chaperone you, just say, right? But Or do you embrace the anonymity of it all and just kind of become a new person because you're in a new city? You become a new person. Who can say? And of course, you can't talk about dating in the city without the kind of apps that come with it, the technology of kind of dating. What's your take on the dating apps? Do you think that in a city you can't date without those how would you say, those aids? would you need that? I think personally, I think that if you are in a big city, there is that illusion of like you can date so many people, you're meeting it, bumping into so many people, but I don't think that actually translates to who you can date. So I think finding an app that like is specific to like this person is looking for this person, you can really do that, because otherwise, you know, you can be in a room full of people and still be lonely because it's such a big city. I mean, there's also the hectic schedules that come with living in the city. You know, what's your secret to balancing work and social life and romance amid that city chaos? You know, there's who's that girl? There's an influencer, I think, called Molly May, and she said, we all have the same 24 hours. You know, there's this whole thing about Beyonce and you have the same 24 hours. But if you're realistically like a normal everyday Joe guy, right? Your 24 hours starts to look like 16 when you've got work, you've got your friends, you got to keep up with your friends, you know, the gym is calling, you've got to cook good meals, you've got to watch those, you got to keep up to date with those episodes of that thing that everyone at work is talking about, you know, and your day gets busier and busier and busier, and then suddenly there's a bae on the side. How do you fit that babe in your life? You know, how do you prioritize all these things now you're juggling them? You know, it's not everyone that you date that becomes your priority right away. So how do you kind of balance that chaos and form something real within that busy city life situation? There's also the spots in the city. You know, where do you go to find love in the city? Yes, it's busy. Yes, there's lots of singles, but you know, you can't just approach people in the streets and be like, come on a date with me. You know, I feel like there has to be, or maybe you can, like maybe you've got game like that. But where do you go in the city? I'd love for you to call and let us know whereabouts in Glasgow or Edinburgh that you can go and meet the love of your life. And how do those places that you meet someone influence the person that you're dating? You know, if for example you meet someone at a coffee shop, they could be completely different to if you met them in the club, to if you met them at a music festival. And also the kind of expectations that you have when you ask someone out on a date. And you know, I've seen online that some people are like, I won't go on a date for coffee, and I get that, because especially on the female side of things, I don't know why I said female. On the woman side of thing, there's this thing of you're going on a date, so you're probably going to get your hair done, you're going to get your makeup done. You know, this could be a process of, you know, 1 to up to 3 hours of getting ready, only for you to go out for an hour of coffee. I don't know if it's worth it. You know, is the chat that good? But then again, what are your intentions when you're asking someone out on a coffee date? You know, you're looking for conversation, and maybe you get that, but what are your intentions when you're asking someone out at a music festival? You know, maybe it's like a shared interest, like you better know that I like X musician if you're going to take me there. There's also, you know, the girls that get flued out, you know. But what are those expectations? Now, if you, for example, if you meet a girl or a guy, you know, and you take them to the best restaurant in your town, where are you going next week? You know, you've built this expectation of what I can do for you. And now next week, are you going to disappoint them? You know, what are you going to do next? You know, what kind of dater are you? Do you build up to the good stuff? But then on the other side, do you wait for the good stuff to build up, or do you want, you know, fire from the beginning? It's interesting what people look for. But again, what do you like? Let me know what it's like in the city. Like, where are you willing to even get flued out? I don't know. You know, are you willing to commit to a dinner? Because on the flip side of getting ready for 3 hours just to go to coffee, there's the flip side of going to dinner for 2.5 hours and you're bored out of your mind. So maybe a quick escape through a coffee date works. Who can say? Not me. I'm just talking to myself here on the radio. There's also your social circles and, you know, your networking circles, how do they impact your love life in the city? I think that it's quite easy to, I mean, we're all herd animals in the end. You know, we find our people. You could be from somewhere far away, you come to a city, you will hopefully find your people, and it's easy to stay in that group because, again, life is busy. How often are you going out to look for new social circles? So in a way, you can end up only being influenced by the people around you. You know, there's that thing, I don't know if it's only an African thing, say like, show me your friends, I'll show you who you are. I don't know how much I believe in that, but certainly in terms of dating, I think that your social circle can play a big impact in that. You know, it's like there's safety in numbers for some, in terms of like, I know this guy, you know, and then you're like, oh, at least he can be vouched for by someone. But then at the same time, does that limit your pool if you're only getting recommendations from people that you know? I don't know. Is that a better way to date? You know, who can say? Again, not me. So have you found love through mutual connections or at networking events across your city? Call in and share your wisdom, or maybe your horror stories. This is a safe space. Like, yes, I might cut it. I might get the editor to cut it and shame you. I'm joking, I won't. Please do call in and let us know. But before we continue, let me remind our listeners how you can get in touch with your comment or your contribution. Right. If you want to join in the conversation, you can call our studio direct on 0745 990 6822, or you can send us a WhatsApp message or voice note. Again, that's 0745 990 6822. And if you are on social media, you can also message us on Facebook, Jambo Radio Scotland, on Twitter, now X, we are at Jambo Radio 1, and on Instagram, we are at jamboradio.scotland, or you can message me directly, and that is at swiperight.hq. You can also email us at info@jamboradio.co.uk or hq.swiperight@gmail.com. So, welcome back, and if you're just joining us, today we are talking about what it's like to find love in the big cities. Is it easier or is it more challenging? Send your comment. We'd love to hear from you and your contribution. So let's move on to urban dating hurdles. This is the title I have here. I don't know why I've written that. I feel like a white woman in a city school, but when I say urban dating, I mean city dating, obviously. You know, what hurdles have you faced and how did you overcome these? You can help a friend today if you call in. You know, are they that different from dating that girl that your father prepared for you in the village? I think there's a lot to be said, especially in our community, in our culture, where there is this kind of, I don't know, there's a girl back home with you. Like, I'm going to use an example of the village girl. You know, you're living in the city, you're making your money, you're potentially dating XYZ, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I'm going to go back to my ex-home country and I'm going to get that girl who is well behaved and hasn't been in the streets in the cities with me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because, you know, there's this online chat about passport bros. I think there's a lot that can be said for that. You know, the expectations of a village girl versus the expectations you'll have on a girl you meet in the city. You know, why are your expectations even varying? I don't know. You know, is that a hurdle you want to? Would you even describe that as a hurdle? I don't know. We can look at it. But what are the unique aspects that contribute to city living love stories? You know, is it that you have this almost unending rotation of lovers because you live in the city? Or do you have only one because you're paranoid that your circle's too small, and if you stray, there will be consequences? I don't know. The love stories look like many different things, and I think that, especially in a city, it would be interesting to hear how many different people have met from one particular spot and how their love stories have kind of, I guess, blossomed in a big way. There's certainly loads of different love stories to be said, but what are the trends in urban city dating? You know, it's all about keeping up with the latest trends, like what's hot right now. I think recently me and a couple of my friends went to X hotel. I won't say what, you know, no free advertising here, But we went over and we were like, oh, we'll have a massage, we'll have dinner, we'll use a spa. Turns out it was very busy, booked out. Like, okay, cool, we'll still have dinner. We'll just use the spa facilities. Come to find out, we went in there. The whole place was couples and couples. Some were suspiciously close in that pool. I don't want to talk about it. I don't remember it. But it kind of felt like, wow, has everyone and their partner decided this is the place to be? Is Glasgow that small that this is the hottest place to be with your lover? And there we were with my friends kind of looking around like, why is this place so incredibly busy with couples? It's January. It's not the month of love. But then again, that's what trends are. It's like, have you been to the latest restaurant? There's a new restaurant. Let's go on a date there. There's a new coffee shop. Let's check it out. It's like you must post on Instagram to say that you've been here. And if your babe hasn't taken you to that place, is it still legit? Are you still in love? I don't know. You definitely are. Don't worry about that. But do you fall to those pressures when you're living in the city, or can you firmly say, nah, mate, like I always just cook dinner at home. Like I always just go to this. I take my dates only on this place. I think that it's hard to not fall for those kind of city dating pressures. But how do you let those, I guess, pressures influence you? Do they even influence you at all? Maybe you've got game and you can meet a girl in the park and she'll be very, very happy to continue from there. But maybe some other girl is freezing and cold and raging that you took her to a park. But if you're funny, if you're bringing something new to the conversation, I guess it doesn't matter if you're in the hottest restaurant that's just opened. It doesn't matter if you've taken me to a spa or not. I guess it's about the person, but how much does the person you're dating care about those things as well? I guess these are conversations that you definitely have to have with yourself. Maybe prior, maybe on the first date. Who can say? Would love to hear from you. And another question for you listeners: what is your relationship dating style in the city? Are you anonymous? Like I think we talked about this before in terms of people who post their dating situations online. So do you let the world know that your person has bought you flowers, bought you a coffee, cleaned the house, everything and anything in between? Do you post that and let people know? Or are you a privacy, one hand in the picture, two coffee cups in the picture to kind of soft launch? Are you no face, no case? What is your style in the city? Because it is easy to get lost in city love. You can certainly do it, and I think that even as busy as you can get in the city, I think I was saying earlier that how do you juggle and balance finding love when your calendar's already so full? But I think that there's a lot of men out there, maybe even girls and boys, I don't know, who are doing 6 relationships at once, and maybe they have the same 24 hours as Beyonce. Who can say? But are your styles the same living in the city as they would be in the countryside, for example, or in a smaller town? I don't know. But again, living in the city, I think certainly for me, I think that it could impact your dating style. If you're not a strong soldier, it could definitely, you could be influenced by those around you. It's not just about traditional relationships. What about open relationships and other unconventional setups? It's no longer boy meets girl, they go up a tree, they kiss, they have a baby. I don't know what that nursery rhyme says, but I think that now more than ever, I think like 2024, there's a lot of lingo for what relationships look like or don't look like. There's right, we have a caller, right? Let's listen in. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Jerusha. I'm calling from London.
Hi there, Jerusha. Thanks for calling in.
No problem. No, it was really interesting what you were saying about dating in the city, because I think it is really rough right now because
not rough.
Nobody wants to commit. Nobody wants to commit. It's always, you need to have a few people on the go.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like trying to actually make that into an exclusive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can share a story. A friend of mine.
Absolutely.
We've seen someone for like a year, And even after that time, they never actually called each other boyfriend and girlfriend, and that's a really like common occurrence, I would say, in London.
12 months. What did you call each other at 12 months? A friend?
I think that they just said, "Oh, someone I'm seeing." It was still very like
still vague.
Yeah. Yeah. To the point that once they kind of went their separate ways, she felt like she couldn't call him her ex.
Oh.
And I was like, I think you can.
After 12 months?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my ex.
Because it was never defined. It was never defined, and yeah.
That's interesting. So there's a defining that's required. So you're saying that a conversation must be had with city dating. Do you think that's the same in a smaller town? Do you think that you would have to have a sit down conversation and say, look, it's been 12 months, so what is the timeline, whatever it is? Do you feel like that conversation is required, or do you think that case that you're speaking of is an isolated incident where maybe the guy was a kind of a neuser, as they say in the Glasgow streets?
I can definitely say from my personal experience, so because I can compare it like almost a case study from between Glasgow and London.
Yeah, that's great.
So I met my boyfriend around the exact same time one of my friends met her boyfriend in Glasgow, and they moved pretty fast, and things became, basically I think date 2 they were already kind of were exclusive.
Okay.
I was seeing my boyfriend for at least, I think, let's say 5 dates, and it was coming up to maybe like the 6th, and I really wanted to have that conversation.
Okay.
Which again, only in London where it feels like that feels like a big deal. And
Wow.
I asked my fellow London friends, and you spoke about how, the tribe that you find and whatnot. And everyone was like, no, you can't have that conversation. It needs to be after 3 months. It's too early.
So there is an etiquette. There is a timeline then, and it looks like 3 months.
Yeah, and then I basically, I guess, broke the rules because I said I'm going to just do it because I'm not comfortable. And thankfully, me and my boyfriend, we were on the same page and it all worked out really well.
Amazing.
But again, it just shows that fact that, like, in the city, people are saying up to 3 months, you could just be, tapping about and there's no kind of loyalty, really.
Wow.
You could be spending every single day with them. I know somebody that was, I think the example one of the friends that advised me against, so, having the conversation said was, well, you only see him like once a week. I know a friend of mine who sees her guy that she's seeing like every single day after work. She goes to his flat.
Wow.
And she says it's too early to have that conversation.
Oh.
And I was like, we're built different, because I'm like,
this is scary.
No, I need to know.
This is scary. So that's interesting because I've been talking about this in terms of big city love, thinking of Glasgow and Edinburgh, but really compared to London, we're a small town. So it's interesting that you have a friend that their relationship moved really fast and they're relatively in a city called Glasgow, but it was too fast for a city like London. That's so strange.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I think like London it's easy to have to say, and I would definitely caution people, from being too like hard on your sleeves here, because it like does definitely choose you and like switch you out. But at the same time, I know that happens also in Glasgow and Edinburgh. Like, I'm not just saying that you need to London.
Oh, absolutely, I can imagine.
There's a lot of different types of people. You don't know who you're meeting. You don't know what they're like. Like you talked about people like flying people out. Like, you can have that kind of experience in London. Like, someone's gonna pay for all your stuff and treat you really well. I've had dates like that where everything gets paid for, etc. But then,
but can you keep that up for 12 months without defining that? Is this person who is getting flued out also flying out 6 other people? When you said about your friend who was in a 12-month will they won't they, does that mean that the other person is also doing the will they won't they with many other people, or is there an assumed loyalty that we're kind of both in this whirlpool? What are the rules? Is there rules?
Well, I think the scary thing is, in that case, I think like people like that can be from the outside exclusive, and in any other generation, I think we would define them as girlfriend and boyfriend, or serious partners, even towards the 1-year mark.
If that was my friend, I'd be calling that man her boyfriend. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'll do it to your face.
But it's just not the case. And then people live together because, of economic reasons, because it's cheaper to share.
That's
and
an
then,
interesting
For
point.
example, a colleague of mine recently moved in with her boyfriend, and she was talking about, the fact that as she gets older, she thinks she wants to have children.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, what about with your boyfriend? Do you think it will be with your boyfriend? The man she's been with for over a year and is living with. And she goes, I don't know. It's a bit early to tell, isn't it? And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I thought, those are things you would think about before moving in with someone.
Yeah.
But, no, it's different. The standards are, wild.
Wow. So when you started the call, you said it's rough in London. I believe you.
Yeah.
I take back my shock. That's a very, very interesting take. And I wonder how much there is really a difference in what you've seen to what other people have experienced. Because I feel like I've heard these same stories, of course, with the agency. I do speak to a lot of people about their experiences, and there is a similarity, but I have to say I haven't spoken to many people from London. So it's interesting that it seems an even crazier place to be. I think that this 12-month relationship mark that you're talking about has really, I guess, shocked me. I think that I've not been in the streets long enough to feel like that's a normal timeline, and perhaps it is, but the point you made about your colleague living with someone just potentially because it's for economic reasons, and that's a reason for dating. I think, as weird as that is, I feel like that is a valid relationship, because if you think about historically, there was reasons for marriage. It wasn't just because I love this woman and I give her my heart. There's financial reasons to that. So I think that it's interesting that we're kind of jumping and, going back on ourselves to the original reasons of courting,
absolutely.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for calling. I don't want to keep you too long.
No problem out there. Yeah, no problem. And good luck to everyone out there. I hope, you find your love.
Listen, good luck to you. I'm so happy that you found a boyfriend that you could speak to, and have this crazy conversation with that. I feel like I need to hear more about these defining conversations and how they go around. It seems like you're having a sort of HR 1-to-1 check-in with your lover, which it's an interesting thing. I've not really considered it before. Okay. Thank you so much. That was our caller, Jerusha, from London. And I think that if you heard the beginning of that call, I think it's a very interesting phone call, because I deal with a lot of kind of Scottish Afro-Caribbean people. So I think that extrapolating that to an even bigger, larger city like London, I wonder what has been, I wonder what the horrors there are, or even the good things are over there. But yeah, thank you so much for calling. That was very interesting. If you're out there and you have something to say about what maybe Joshua said or what I've been saying, certainly call us back and let us know. One moment, please. So, what were we talking about? We were talking about, I've just been thrown by that by that defining conversation. But Jerusha was talking about the differences in dating between Glasgow and London. I think that there is the differences that must be considered if you are dating in a big city such as Glasgow, to be honest. But at the same time, if you think of traditional dating, I guess, even historically, she said there's I think it was a colleague who was dating someone for 12 months without defining, and I asked, does that mean that they were also dating other people? So I think that the styles of relationships have changed in the city. I think traditionally, that's what I'm trying to get to, is that especially in our communities, like things like polygamy and polyamory, I'm not too sure what the right terminology is. It was certainly a very, very acceptable thing. So whether or not it was an acceptable thing or a said unsaid, it was certainly happening. So I wonder, is that again, are we going back on ourselves, and is it again happening to us where we are leaning into this way of dating where there's 6 people on the rota? But I think traditionally there was a reason for that. Here it was very simple to date in the village. So for example, here is a man who has a piece of land that he needs to have a wife and children to help him till it, and here is a woman who needs to leave her father's house and make her own family. So where does it end? Where does it start? Nothing's new under the sun, really, because once you are dating 6 people, are you in a polygamous relationship? Is it only that if you have that defining conversation and say, I'm only looking for somebody also who is in a polygamous relationship? I'm not too sure, but let me know what your thoughts are. And again, thanks you to our caller, Jerusha. We're just going to take a quick break just now to listen to some music. This is Tamaya, I'm So Into You. Welcome back. That was Tamaya, and the title of that song was So Into You. And I hope that if you are struggling to have that defining conversation with someone, just send him that message. Just send him that song rather, or maybe a voice note of you singing that. It would help. So right now, the next show up is a special interview with V Toy on the topic From Diversity to Inclusion. Stay tuned as the show with V Toy starts at 7 p.m. Thank you very much. And thank you again for listening in. If you're just joining us, today we are talking about dating in the city. And we can't do that without mentioning the role of social media. So, social media, what is it? Of course, we know what it is. How does it help us? How does it hinder us? You guys can tell me more than I can. Do you know what I mean? I like to pretend that I'm a social media whiz. I don't know if I am. But Instagram influencers, how do they impact your dating expectations? I mean, I think that there's a lot to be said about this. Earlier, I mentioned the influencer Molly May. She's a cute babe. But if you think about her relationship with Tommy, I think it's Tommy, they display a beautiful love story. Not just them. There's so many influencer relationships. As quickly as they blow up, it's as quickly as they blow out. And as much as we all know and understand social media is fake and everybody puts on their best foot forward, for whatever reason, when we look at these Instagram or influential couples, we forget that it's all a facade, and we change our expectations. So now you're seeing Molly getting flued out. Suddenly the small acts that your normal boyfriend is doing for you are starting to look less and less attractive. But you are not Molly May. What are the expectations that you put on yourself for a relationship, or through social media, or what does social media, or does it help or does it hinder? Because I think sometimes, for example, on TikTok, there's a trend of women specifically discussing the problems in their relationships. And I think that previously we didn't have this landscape where people could easily communicate and say, I have this problem with my partner. Is it normal? Because a lot of times you're having those conversations maybe with your church community or with your friends community, and these are all kind of echo chambers. Someone could tell you, oh yeah, that's completely normal because they've gone through it as well. It might not be normal, So now these social media platforms, that they're giving people a chance to discuss with a wider group and say, is this normal? There's like a kind of check point where a lot of these women on TikTok are like, oh, it starts out as a joke to be like, oh, in my relationship, nobody cleans the toilet for 2 months unless I do it, hee, and I guess in that way you're looking for solidarity, you're looking for affirmation that maybe this is okay and you shouldn't just ruffle the feathers of your relationship. But when a lot of people comment back on your post to say, listen, baby girl, you gotta get out, that's not normal, it makes you wake up and rethink maybe what your expectations of a relationship is. And I think that's a good thing, because there's a lot of miseducation, or maybe on purpose or not on purpose, about gender roles in relationships. And I think that with these social media platforms opening us up to a load of new ways to relationship, new ways to do things in these roles, it becomes like a checkpoint for yourself to be like, what am I doing? Is it normal? What am I being put through? Is it normal? And yes, it is, or maybe it's not normal. You can decide, or you can be that gauge. But there's the flip side of over expecting as well that the social media can create. So it's a delicate balance. And I think that if you're out there and you're listening and you're young and you're like being heavily influenced by social media, like take that with a chill pill. What was the word? Take it with a little pinch of salt, because as much as you can have a whole lot of comments telling you this is not normal, they could just be in struggle of, and they don't know that what this person's doing is normal. So you have to take the good and the bad and make your own informed decision. So be careful on the socials. Of course, don't also get catfished by these in influential relationships, because trust me, it's not what it seems. Let's be honest, it's not what it seems. So if you're not kind of looking at social media to inspire you for relationships, you're looking at real life. Where are you meeting? What are you looking at in real life that is inspiring you to expect more? Do you go to romantic spots and watch couples? Do you that seems so creepy, like you're just there alone with a book and a little fake mustache looking at people kissing. No, that's not what I mean. I mean in terms of, where do you go to find romance in the city if it's not to look for getting flued out? What's the realistic expectations of finding love in the city? There's unique things that you can do. Of course, there's it's not every day Cafe Nero, do you know what I mean? No shade, I love them, but you have to do something new sometimes. And I think that putting yourself out there is more important than seeing what's around you. I think that there's a way of you going and watching people be in love, but then you putting yourself out there and becoming I don't know, a new you. Do you have you ever been fencing? Don't know why that popped in my head. Go fencing, not because you want to go fencing or you're really interested in swords all of a sudden, but certainly because you're going to meet new people. It's going to put you in a new headspace to potentially find a romantic partner that you would have never associated with yourself. I think that on paper, people can say that they're looking for a 6-foot king who works in finance. Okay, that's great. I'm proud of you. Look for it. But in real life, that might not actually work out well for you. You might be actually happy with a 5'7". If you're 5'7" out there, please don't cancel me. That's a great height. But what I'm saying is, don't always just do the same things and watch the same things and compare the same things. Go and put yourself out there in different places. So, I mean, especially at my agency, we do a lot of date planning. So have you been to an art gallery or museum across Scotland, or Glasgow alone? Glasgow is a special city in terms of how it has a lot of free museums, and I think there is a thing where African Caribbean people are like the lowest number of people that visit these spaces. But hey, yeah, okay, go have your coffee, but then go to the gallery and talk about what you've seen. Or if you hate it, fantastic. Even something to hate is a great bonding element. It'll help you. Outdoor activities. Plan a hike, a picnic, a day at the beach. We have great beaches in Scotland. Yes, you'll be cold. Yes, we might be black. The cold is not for us, but certainly it's something to get the blood going and get out of your normal environment. Because I think your normal environment can foster similar conversations. Especially if you're talking with your friends, you've been friends for so long, you can always go back to the same conversations. And yes, they're juicy, they're fun, a different angle to see that situation. But at the same time, if you go to a different place, it can open you up to something new. What other dating ideas have you done across the city? The city, living in the city and loving in the city, it has so many more opportunities. And I think that a lot of African Caribbean people, they don't embrace that so much. Take a cooking class together. I think that there is, don't quote me, but there is a thing that I read, and I'll say thing because I don't want to confess and say it was a Twitter or something, that said men love via bonding, or men kind of are loved through bonding. So I think that what I'm English is my second language, guys, but what I'm saying is that when you are trying to maybe bond with a guy, I think you can see with male friendships, a lot of them are formed via sports, that kind of thing. So if you're finding that your love life is a little bit stale, do something with your man that includes you guys learning something together, or, defeating each other. I don't know. I don't know where this is going, but certainly do something new. I have here my note saying stargazing. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. I don't know anything about astronomy, but I do love space, and I can talk rubbish about space the whole day. Maybe it's not for everyone, and that's okay, but there's so much you can do across the city. I mean, yes, there is a lot of pollution, and you probably will have to go further out of the city to kind of do that stargazing activity. But certainly, if you are in the city, you're dating in the city, you don't want to be taking this your 6 girls out to the same place. Try an escape room. There's loads across the city. They're very, very fun. I'm very bad at them, but I'm there for a good time. I'm not there for anything else. You have an hour, you solve difficult puzzles, maybe easy puzzles, and you come out and it's a laugh. It's something to talk about. It could be compared to maybe going to the cinema, but you're sat in silence in the cinema. You come out the cinema, you maybe talk about the film a little bit. Maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. But an escape room can be a great way to break the ice between people. Go to a live performance. We love live music. Like we are a lively people, and the city provides so much of that. And there's a lot of venues that, yes, maybe it might not be music that you're into, but certainly you will find that. And I think that, as I was saying earlier, the person that you meet in a coffee shop, their personality might change if you take them somewhere else. So to get someone's full personality, put them into different situations and see, how well are you gelling in these different conditions? Are they competitive? Are they, not competitive? All these things really, really matter. So again, thank you for listening to me rambling on about. If you want to join in the conversation, you can call the studio direct on 0745 990 6822. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp, and again on the same number is 0745 990 6822. And if you're on social media, you can also message us on Facebook, Jambo Radio, on Twitter, or now X, we are Jambo at Jambo Radio 1, and on Instagram, we are at jamboradio.scotland, or you can message me direct at swiperight.hq on Instagram. Email us also at info@jamboradio.co.uk or hq.swiperight@gmail.com. And we have a message over from Craig, and he says, I met my wife in the city before Tinder was around. I'm happy I took her off the market before the apps took over. Went to the cinema on the first date. It was quiet, but at dinner we had a good chat. And I think that's exactly what I was saying earlier in terms of, if you go to the cinema, it will create this kind of, you have to be quiet. And I think that unless there's a crazy sexual tension, it could end up being a kind of bum date. So who can say? Put yourselves out there, be uncomfortable in the dating arena. It is challenging. It is weird. It is creepy. I hope it's not creepy, but it certainly can be. I've heard some interesting stories. But certainly get yourself somewhere that you wouldn't have normally gone, and you might meet the love of your life, not the one that you've written down on paper, but someone completely shocking and new. And there's the last thing I guess I want to talk about in terms of dating in the city is dealing with breakups, especially in a small city. I think we just spoke to Jerusha over in London. I think it could be a lot easier to break up with someone in London, but at Glasgow, I think people who live here can attest to it feeling small. Yes, it's a city, but it feels small. So when you do break up, you may not have a huge house or children or those assets that you need to separate, but certainly maybe you have a gym that you share and you go at the same time. Who's going to get the gym? Who's going to get your favorite coffee shop? Who's going to get the friend group? There's all these difficult things that come within dating in a smaller city. But at the same time, would those things not apply as well in a small town or in a bigger city? Who can say? Who decides who gets what? If you're the one who wants to break up, are you the one who now seeks these different avenues of new life? Or how amicable is it breaking up in the city? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, contact us. We can play your messages another time, but let's digest to kind of calm things down with the last song of the night. It's Beyonce, and the title of the song is Sweet Dreams. Hey, welcome back. That was Beyonce singing Sweet Dreams. So over our musical break there, we got a little message from Jennifer. So I'll just read that out. Thank you for contacting us. So this says, hi Holly, Jennifer here. Dating life isn't exciting. Honestly, I'm tired. And that's how she spelled that. I'm giving up apps for now. I can't be bothered being asked the same questions over and over again. Dating is long. It's not fun anymore. It's becoming a tedious task to find this husband that these aunties keep asking for. Don't even suggest church because the devil goes to church. Oh, I like activity type of dates. Bowling, hikes, it's ever free. Oh, everything free. I can't do any more coffee. And she's put 4 exclamation marks. Wow, Jennifer, that is so funny that you say that the aunties are asking for. And I think it's very relevant to the Afro-Caribbean community. Women, I think by the age of like 18, they're like, you can't date, you must finish uni. As soon as you finish uni, suddenly it's, where is your husband? Please, where's your husband? So I think that's a very interesting point. And also, listen, if you're out there and you're dating a Jennifer, I want you to know that she doesn't want to do any more coffee. I'm not going to say what her surname is. Just know that if you are dating a Jennifer, take her outside. She likes activities. So let's conclude today's topic of finding love in the city. Now it's your turn. Thank you to all the people who have shared their thoughts. Loved to hear that. I think there's a lot to digest on, especially with the call from London. I'd love for you all to share your city dating ideas. We can help each other here. We're a small community and we would love to hear from you and grow together, I guess. How will you embrace the unique opportunities and challenges that come with city dating in your own love story? Because I'm sure there's many. Well, over here at Swipe Right HQ, we'd love to be a part of your love story. We host in-person events across Glasgow and in Edinburgh. Not your typical speed dating, okay? We want to make dating fun again. And it's a safe space, I guess. I don't want to say safe space, but it's certainly an event space that we've created specifically for Afro-Caribbean people. I think that, it's not closed off to anyone else, but certainly we want you guys to feel like you can be your full selves in these spaces. And again, there'll be no coffee or dinner, because I'm joking, we can certainly provide that. But it's not your typical speed dating. And I want you guys to come and be open and be willing to meet people that you maybe haven't met before and do activities you haven't done before and put yourselves in a situation where you are open to find new love. And we can also work with you one-to-one if you prefer dating online or, staying on the online world. It's not like Jennifer, who is sick of the apps. We can certainly help you with that. We offer help from profile creation or even curation to your image consulting. We can certainly do everything that you're struggling with. Maybe you don't have game online. We're here for you and we can help you. So check out our website for more. That's swiperight-hq.com. So thank you to our callers, our messages, and our listeners this evening. And that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, I have been your host, Holly from Swipe Right HQ. Thank you very much. Have a great night.